that your inquiry as a journalist has to be rooted in some view, your own view of what kind of world you want it to be. And that is where you may also be guided by Gandhi, who once said that you must become the change that you want to see. Unless you become the change that you want to see, you wouldn't have a prescription for change for the society. And for that, you'll have to be conversant with history. You'll have to be conversant with a whole lot of other streams of humanities. Mind you, across the world, the best leaders have come out from the humanities stream. Take anybody. There were students of history, there were students of political science, there were political philosophers. Well, at times engineers can be making great leaders, doctors can make great leaders, physicists can make great leaders, nuclear scientists can make great leaders. But humanity remains the biggest contributor to leadership across the world. Because what you need to know is the past. What, in order to come to a proper assessment of the present, while projecting the future. So, your connect with your society will be in terms of your leadership habits. What kind of leadership? What kind of stuff that you read? Your ability to hear and listen and internalize what you think is right and reject what you think is wrong after questioning the person who propagates that idea. Now, now let us come to the question of, again, the business model, and very much linked to that is this very, very pernicious phenomenon of paid news. Again, media's blind pursuit of money. Now, you must have heard so much about paid news, I don't want to go into the details. But I want to tell you that we have this press freedom to build an empowered public opinion. And I want to ask you, in the light of that if I take money from 3 candidates fighting for the same seat and publish in my newspaper that all 3 are great men, would I be empowering public opinion? Or would I be emasculating public opinion? Quite certainly, I am being a thief, a trickster, an imposter as a journalist. That I am confusing public opinion. And in that pursuit, am I any different from those members of parliament involved in the cash for query scam? The basic privilege of a member of parliament is to make the government accountable through questions in parliament. And when he puts a price tag on his question, he is defeating that very, very foundation that is on which is built our parliamentary democracy. And a journalist who sells space, news space, is as much guilty. Because he is doing something that is entirely antithetical to what he is expected to do in pursuit of press freedom. He exercises that freedom in your name. And then to make money, he betrays you and the cause and the Constitution of India. And still, the media lobby is so strong that they have hushed up the report on paid news that was prepared by the Press Council of India, a team in the Press Council of India. They've hushed it up. I think that even the so-called paragons of virtue, the great fighters against corruption, dare not take on the media. Have you ever seen an Anna Hazare taking on the media? An Arvind Kejriwal taking on the media? Have you seen them taking on the media? No. So will this continue endlessly? It will not continue endlessly because the reader will not take it endlessly. And I think that the leadership constituency, the people of Kerala, who are so demanding in terms of the requirements from a newspaper, they have the ability to set an example. I'm not trying to incite you to mobilize you against newspapers, no. I'm only trying to tell you that you tell the newspaper, buddy, I love you for the following reasons. If you are going to betray me on these counts, I shall withdraw my affection and sour it on your competitor. Make the use of the very economy that cuts into the roots of press freedom in order to ensure press freedom. That would require some degree of activism also. Maybe you set up clubs, newsreaders clubs. And these newsreader clubs, I'm saying that there's a great tradition of such clubs in South. The carom clubs can also be turned into newsreaders clubs. Any club can be turned into a Lions club, either deep red lion, some pink lion, and some lion, some tiger club, these kind of clubs. They can be turned into newsreaders clubs, and these clubs can become great pressure points to keep the media, that the business side of it, on a tight leash. Tight leash means don't kill them for want of money, but we navigate them towards a business model that is inclusive, that takes care of the economic side of a newspaper without entirely compromising the social responsibility side of it. Even big corporate houses today undertake projects for corporate social responsibility. They want to protect the environment. They want to set up schools for the poor. They're also thinking, though they have not done it, to open up jobs for people from the weaker sections, doing things for women and children. So, newspapers are also today corporate entities. Let them not do anything by way of corporate social responsibility, but let them honestly pursue their social role, their responsibility towards the reader, while not entirely compromising the business side of it. Now, as I say this, I keep on repeating that there are honorable exceptions to the rule, that there are newspapers which are more honest and more committed to their readership.